A narcissist's desire to control, coupled with their confidence, can be infuriating, and it can make anyone want to put them in their place. And that's what we're talking about in today's video, where I'm going to share 8 steps to put the narcissist in their place. Let's get to it. Welcome to the Common Ego community. My name is Christina, and on this channel we talk about emotional abuse, narcissism, and self-development. Today we're talking about putting the narcissist in their place. And I know that that's something that you have probably wanted to do a million times over, and maybe you've even done it. But the absolute best way to put the narcissist in their place is to do it with your hands clean. So not yelling and showing other signs of emotion, but sending the message that you are unaffected and you're not backing down. And if you have to deal with a toxic person like a narcissist, I have a free download that you can access from the description box below that shares some insight and some extra tips, some bonus tips on dealing with these types of people. So if you have someone like this in your life right now, I suggest you check out that download. I think you're going to find it helpful. So now let's jump straight into the steps to putting a narcissist in their place. Now, the first steps happen before you even encounter the narcissist. So if you know that you're going to have to deal with this person, these are things that you're going to want to do. Even if you don't know exactly when you're going to cross paths, it can be helpful to get into the right mindset. So first and foremost, give yourself a little bit of a pep talk. You are not afraid of this person. And the reason why I say this is because if you go into this conversation with fear, they will know it. It will be very obvious to the narcissist in your life. So narcissists very severely lack emotional empathy, but they have very strong cognitive empathy. And they always seem to know what's going on with you. So do what you can to kind of talk yourself up and try to relieve any fears that you have over this. You are in control. By the end of this video, you will be armed with everything you need to maintain control and composure during this conversation. So there is no need to fear. Now, of course, if this is someone who you are actually afraid of and for good reason, these aren't conversations that you should be having in person anyway. So always, always, always get a mediator or go through a third party. And that's a good idea in general. We'll get to that. But if you are actually afraid of this person, then that is something that will be front and center. So the second thing you're going to want to do before you even encounter this person again is define your boundaries. You're going to come up with a plan to hold firm to those boundaries. So when you first start this conversation, you're going to lay out what is acceptable to you and what is not. And so this, for most people, means that you are not going to accept gaslighting. You're not going to accept word salad. And you're not going to let this person interrupt you. If they do during the conversation, when you're actually face to face, you may want to give them one warning. And if they continue to trample your boundaries, which they probably will, consider ending that conversation there. And if this is something that is time sensitive and you actually need to get an answer on it, or you need to come to some sort of agreement, this may be a time to talk about getting a mediator. Because when a narcissist is pushing your boundaries, they are bullying you, they're manipulating you. And this is not going in your favor. Because whatever you're talking about is probably of some importance to you. Otherwise, you wouldn't be talking to this narcissist, right? So you want to make sure that this conversation goes smoothly and in your favor. And sometimes just the threat or the idea of having a third party involved will get the narcissist to kind of change their tune a little bit. And the third step to putting a narcissist in their place is something that you can do upfront, or you can do it after the narcissist pushes your boundaries a little bit too much. And that is to demand that if you're going to have conversations with this person, that they either happen with an objective third party present, someone like a mediator, or that the person agrees to have the conversation recorded. So this serves two purposes. So if the narcissist does get out of line, you have proof. And also, the narcissist isn't going to want to be seen as someone who is the problem, right? In order for their narrative to work, you need to be the problem. So they're probably going to be on their best behavior. The third step to putting a narcissist in their place is putting a time limit on the conversation. So this works in a couple of ways, and it's kind of a power move. So when you're having a conversation with a narcissist, especially if you're looking for something that they don't want to give you, they're going to use all the tactics, all the infuriating tactics, and a good portion of it is going to be word salad. So having a time limit kind of gives you that permission, if that's something that you feel like you need, to keep the narcissist on task. So you can say something like, hey, listen, I really only have 10 minutes and we've got to get an answer on this. Can we get back to the subject at hand? And it kind of makes your schedule, into the bad guy, rather than saying, the narcissist, you're being the bad guy here, right? Like you got to stop this. And what that does is it keeps it from turning into an argument, because a narcissist will look for any excuse to argue. And if they feel like you're attacking them, then they'll hone in on that, and then that will derail the conversation. So even if you want to be argumentative and if you want to say, listen, you need to stop doing this, sometimes the best approach is a gentler approach, because it will more likely get you what you want. The other thing that putting a time limit on a conversation with a narcissist does is it sends the message that you've got better things to do. And if you hold firm to that time limit, I can pretty well guarantee that it will bother the narcissist. It will bother them that you have something more important to do than talk to them. This is one of those signals that lets the narcissist know that they're losing control over you. And for you, that's a good thing. So the next way to put a narcissist in their place is to use conversational power moves. So you go ahead and you stand tall during this conversation, no matter how you feel inside. You could feel like you're falling apart inside, but you are going to project confidence. You're going to look that person in their eye and you're going to use their name. Remember, you are not afraid of this person and you are not going to project any fear at all. And this may be surprising to the narcissist. It may even be disarming to the narcissist if this isn't your typical stance. And these are nonverbal cues that you are maintaining control, that you are not going to be bullied by this person. So the next tip I have for you to put the narcissist in their place is to trust your intuition and pay attention to what's going on in your body. So the mind can play tricks on us, right? Sometimes the mind tells us stories that maybe aren't true, or it can get lost in rumination, in thinking about possible scenarios. And there's a good chance that if you still have a narcissist in your life, that you've gotten stuck in these cycles of rumination. And you may have even been ruminating about this conversation and what could happen. Try to let that stuff go and focus on the present moment and focus on what is going on in your body. When the narcissist triggers you, you're going to feel it in your body. There's going to be a physical response. And it might feel like you got stabbed in the chest, right? And that is because the narcissist is standing there, figuratively, with a knife behind their back. They are purposely triggering you. So when you feel that wound, think of it as them doing something to you rather than you taking on whatever it is that they're trying to put on you. So the seventh tip I have to help you put a narcissist in their place is to avoid arguing at all costs. So you're going to want to maintain your composure. If you start arguing, you have lost the game. Unfortunately, to the narcissist, it is more like a game. They're going to try and see how they can get to you, how they can control you and pull your strings, how they can trigger you. And this is your test to see how you can stand strong. And if you can stand strong, you can put the narcissist in their place. So even if the narcissist is saying stuff about you that isn't true, and they're standing in front of you, and it's infuriating, right? But whenever you donate your energy to that cause, you are giving that life. You're giving the narcissist's words credibility, and they are feeling powerful as a result. So what I like to do in situations like these is use the so what approach. So whatever they have negative to say about you, you don't care about their opinion, right? And you want to make that very clear. They do not mean anything to you. They are insignificant to your life, and you don't care about their opinion. So whatever they have to say, your answer is, so what? They think you're a liar. So what? I don't care if you think I'm a liar. And then bring the conversation back to where you want it to go. One of the worst things that you can make a narcissist feel is insignificant. So if they are triggering you and you need to put them in their place, This is a powerful way to do that. And the last tip I have for you is to practice unwavering happiness in the presence of this narcissist. So this is all about projecting the image that they do not matter to you. They can try as hard as they want to trigger you, to upset you, but their words no longer matter to you. So the things that used to trigger you aren't going to trigger you anymore. And I know that this is like easier said than done. And I know that you're probably sitting there thinking, no, but they do still trigger me. Those things still do. But the important part here and the distinction is that you are not going to let this person know that. Because if you let them know that those things bother you, then they know that they still have some power and control over you. So in order to put the narcissist in their place, you have to let them know, you have to send the message that you are good without them. And one tip that I find really helpful in these situations is to think of it in terms of time. You know, if you're having a conversation with this person, and let's just say that this is somebody who's not really in your life all the time. Maybe you're getting divorced, or maybe it's a family member that you haven't seen in a while. Remember, you're putting a time limit on this conversation and you are sticking to it because you want to send the message that you have better things to do. And the truth is you do. Whether you feel like it or not, you actually do have better things to do. But as you think about acting as if these things don't bother you, that the narcissist can't get to you, they can't trigger you, think about it in terms of time. How much time did you set aside for this conversation? 30 minutes? You can do anything for 30 minutes, right? Remind yourself that this is a limited amount of time and that this is something that you have to do to get through the conversation and to get what you want out of the conversation. And if you allow them to trigger you like they always have, they are going to steamroll you and they are only going to get what they want. And that's not really a fair negotiation. So as you use these tactics, and again, I would suggest using them only if you really need to, if you need to negotiate something with a narcissist. Otherwise, if you don't, the best course of action always is to walk away. Start focusing on yourself and begin your own healing. But these tactics can help protect you and your interests should you need to discuss something with a narcissist. And I don't know if you've noticed, but there has been a common theme throughout all of these steps. And the common theme is that you want to send the message that the narcissist does not have control over you. And if you're successful in that, and especially if this is the first time that you're sending that message, you're going to see some signs that the narcissist is losing control. If you're wondering what that looks like, I'm going to link to a video right here where I outline what happens from beginning to end when a narcissist feels like they're losing control and power over you. As always, like, share, and subscribe if you found this video helpful. And let me know in the comments if you have any tips of your own to help put the narcissist in their place. And I'll see you next time.